Hello there, welcome to Pre-Cal Lecture 2.3c, where we're going to be working some investment and business problems. So you'll need to get out your pre-printed notes, and we'll start with the first one here. It says Alice has $600, which she divides into two investment accounts. One account earns 5% simple interest, while the other account earns 3% simple interest. If she earns $25 in total interest over the year, how much did she invest in each account? Well, this is really kind of in a lot of ways like we're going to set it up kind of like those mixture problems where we're going to make a table. So I would say we could call this first column rate, and we know that we have an account with 5% interest and another account with 3% interest. And then we have the investment, so that's just going to be our dollar value in each account. You need to know how much is in each account, so I'm just going to give X to the 5% account, and then the total has to add up to $600 for the investment. So the second one would be 600 minus X. And you can check that X plus 600 minus X will add up to 600 because the X and the minus X will cancel. And then the interest would be, remember with a percent rate, we're going to divide by 100, so it would be 0.05 times X. And for the second account, it would be 0.03 times 600 minus X, and that adds up to a total of $25 in interest. So let's do this linearly. So we've got 0.05x plus 0.03 times 600 minus X. So if you want, you can think of that as a plus there, is equal to 25. So 0.05x plus, and now 0.03 times 600 would be 18. And then minus 0.03x is equal to 25. So 0.05 minus 0.03 would be 0.02x, and then subtract 18 from both sides. So 25 minus 18 would be 7. So x is equal to 7 over 0.02. And that's going to be $350. And that would be in the 5% account. Okay, so that's part of your answer. And then to get the 3% amount, it would be 600 minus 350. So that would be $250. So we've got 250 in the 3% account. So make sure that on your homework, and especially on a test, that you label these kind of problems. Don't just put 350 and 250, because I won't know, which value goes with which account unless you label it. All right, well, that's the first one out of the way. Not too bad, and I don't think it's a ton different than what we've been doing. It's just with money instead of marbles, right? Okay, so the second one says, Julie invested $2,000 in a savings account earning 5% simple interest. How much additional money must she invest in a 7.5% interest to achieve a combined return of 6.4%? Well, this is really just like some of those juice concentration problems. We're just using different terms here. So we've got a rate, and we know we start out with 5%, and then we want to know how much should we invest at 7.5% to achieve a total return of 6.4%. So our investment, so this is just going to be our dollar value of investment, We know from the problem that there's $2,000 in the 5% account. We want to know how much are we going to do in the 7.5% account. And then we'll have a total of 6.4% return on 2,000 plus X. All right. So our interest it'd be 0.05 times 2,000. So that's going to be $100. And then we would have 0.075 times X. I'm just multiplying the 7.5% times X. We're going to add those two together, and we'll get 0.064 times 2,000. See, let's put a plus there. Times 2,000 minus X. All right, so we've got 100. If we go linearly here, we've got 100 plus 0.075X is equal to 0.064 times 2,000 minus X. That's going to be 100 plus 0.075X is equal to 0.064 times 2,000 is 128, and then minus 0.064X. So if we gather the X's to the left, I'm going to add 0.064 to both sides. So I'd have 2,000 plus X. I'm so sorry about that. 2,000 plus. All right, apologize. Go ahead and it's, hopefully you caught that error before I did. So that'd be a plus right here. So we're going to subtract 0.064 from both sides. So that I have 0.011X is equal to 128 minus 100 when I move that 100 over to the right. So X is going to be 28 divided by 0.011, and that's going to be 2545.45. All right, so that's how much needs to be in the 7.5% account. All right. So we're half done with the problems on this note sheet. Now we're going to do a couple of business problems, and they're honestly even a little simpler than the two investment problems. So this first one says, Lawrence takes out a loan for $6,000 to start a business building and selling bikes. If the bikes cost $45 to build and they sell for $165 each, how many bikes must he sell to pay off the loan? All right, so what we've got here is ultimately we have a profit equation. Revenue minus cost is equal to profit. So we need to know, when does the profit get to $6,000? Okay. Well, revenue is going to be 100, and so let's let X equal the number of bikes sold. All right, so revenue would be 165 times X. Okay, so that's our revenue. Then our cost, each bike costs $45, so that's 45 times X. All right, so cost is that. And we need to know, when can we get to $6,000 of profit so that we can pay off the loan? So that would be 165 minus 45 is 120 times X is equal to 6,000. So X is 6,000 over 120, which would be 50 bikes. All right, so I did maybe a little more explaining than you needed on that one. You probably could have just figured that one out on your own. But I just wanted to give you some terms there: revenue, cost, and profit. Okay, our last one for this lecture. Billy earns 20% more than his brother. Together they earn $836 in 1 week. How much did Billy earn? All right, so let's make a little table here. We've got Billy and the brother. So we do want to know how much Billy earns, or how much, right, how much did Billy earn? But it says that Billy earned 20% more than his brother. I think it's a little easier to think about if we let X be the brother's earnings. And 20% more than X would just be X plus 0.2X, right? 0.2 is 20%, so it'd be X plus 0.2X. And that has to add up to $836. So that's going to be X plus 0.2X plus X is equal to 836. So that would be 2.2X is equal to 836. So X will be 836 divided by 2.2. And that's $380. So that's the brother's earnings. How could I get Billy's earnings? Well, it's going to be 1.2, X plus 0.2, or 1.2. Or we could even easier just take the total 836 minus 380. And that is going to be 456. Or you could do 1.2 times 380 and you would get the same answer. Okay, so your homework is worksheet 2.3C. That is the last worksheet before we're going to work on the test review. There are 6 questions. I don't really have anything to say about the 6 questions. Just hopefully you'll find them pretty straightforward. And I'll talk to you on the next one.